Hi everybody, welcome to another video update from Abraham's Table Farm. We are in the first week of May and it seems like the weather has finally changed. We've had a long, cold, damp spring, which has been really frustrating and difficult. One of our biggest goals this year was to extend the season to get an early start and then push the cropping in the fall. And it was really challenging this spring to get that early start. We put some things out early, the cold weather persisted, they didn't do so well. And so it's just been a big challenge. We do have crops in the greenhouses that are doing well and are ahead of our normal schedule, and so that's really exciting. Last week we harvested greens and sent them down to all our winter CSA members, and we'll continue to have greens from now on. So it's exciting to have those early greens in the springtime. Some other crops like garlic you can see here are doing pretty well, but it really hasn't warmed up all that much until this week. So this week has been busy and we're finally getting some things in the ground that have been in their pots a little bit too long and waiting, and we are excited to be rolling, and we feel like now we can finally get the season really going. So that's exciting. There's a lot of other things going on the farm. We had our second batch of chicks arrive. We finally got the layers out onto pasture, which is really wonderful to see. And some of the really warmest season crops like tomatoes and cucumbers are going in the ground right now. So exciting to be finally moving on to some of those summer things and getting the pasture really running and everything like that. And yeah, feeling a lot better now that the sun is out and the warm temps have arrived. So let's go around, see what everything looks like, and just give you a little update on the farm. Here in the back of the garden, we've got the crops that were under these row covers during the cold nights in the last week or two. Some of them are doing okay. This is broccoli that's not looking bad at all, but some of them really had a hard time growing in such cold nights, and they're still really small. You can see peas back there. They did okay. Some of our earliest actual pea plants, but we'll see if they can bounce back well enough. But a lot of this stuff that should be more like this size is still pretty small, just because those cold nights were really difficult for those plants. But inside the tunnels, there's a lot of green. I'll go show you in this tunnel where our first tomatoes are going in, and there's a lot of growth in there. So you can just see the difference between outdoor growing and under one layer of protection, how much of an earlier start we can get in there. So outside things are pretty small, but inside there's a lot of growth. You can see these large tomato plants in the middle. They'll be trellised up to the rafters up there, and on either side we've got lush greens, arugula, and radishes, and they're all harvestable. Those are some of the beds that we were harvesting from last week, and excited to have that much green, fresh leaf and root to eat. And I'm excited to have tomatoes that are so big in the middle, and all because of this one layer of protection that helps keep the temps up. We didn't plant the tomatoes out until this week because, again, those nighttime temperatures that kept things out here so small were just too much for the tomatoes, even under one layer of protection. But now that nighttime temperatures have jumped back up to what they're normally supposed to be, we can get them out of here. They had to stay in pots for a little bit too long, and well, not too long, but we had to pot them up into larger pots in order to hold them in the greenhouse while we waited for the sun to warm things up. But now they're able to go out, so that's really exciting. And some of them are starting to put out a first flower or two, so that's the beginning of the fruiting process. So we're excited for that. But yeah, lots of green growth coming in to the tunnels, but not as much outside as we would have liked to see at this time of year. Some of the other salad mixes are looking really beautiful right now and will be harvestable soon. This bed of spinach is a little coming on next after that. And then these three tunnels all have various sized plantings of greens all ready to start sizing up over the next couple weeks. And then there's the greenhouse, which has a long succession of plants ready to come out. Some getting pretty big as they wait and wait and wait for the cold weather to get it done, but a lot of plants still yet to come. We start things way down at that other end, and they slowly move towards this end as they get ready to come outside. So a lot of plants coming in the next couple weeks. A lot of big plantings to get out in the garden now that the warm weather's here. Last week, they were just uncovering this perennial garden, and now they have some cardboard down to suppress weeds, mulch in the pathways, trellising set up for some vining crops. This is gonna be a fun little experimental plot that is headed up by Debbie with all kinds of new flowers that we've never grown before. So we're excited to see how that develops in the next couple weeks. We also have a second batch of chicks here now. Another 200 chicks all in the brooder, doing really well. Cute as usual and thriving in this protected environment. Plenty of water, feed, warmth. We have actually had one rat recently hanging around the brooder, which is a bit scary. We lined the bottom of this brooder underneath all that bedding with chicken wire in order to try to keep him out, and otherwise it is a secure environment with chicken wire covering every single hole. So they are safe, but we are gonna have to keep an eye on that. We've set traps and we are doing battle with that rat right now. Hopefully he won't cause any problems. And the mid-sized birds over in this chamber are almost ready to go out on pasture. You can see they've got a lot of their real true feathers, which means they can regulate their own temperature much better, and they will be able to live out on pasture now that the nights are less intense and they have their feathers. So probably next week we will be moving these guys out onto pasture, fresh grass, and that will be really fun to see. But they're doing great in here. They're comfortable, they're content, they're safe. And so that transition is coming up. One of the most exciting things that we did this past week was bring the chickens out onto pasture. As you can see, the pasture is really greening up. The grass is starting to just take off with the warm weather. And so it's time to finally bring the chickens out. We wanted to do this a couple weeks ago, but it was just too cold and miserable wet. But now they're out here, they're foraging around, scratching, hunting, pecking, eating grass, which will all be super healthy and helpful to their yolks. We've got the mobile coop going. This is the coop we built on wheels so we can move it around every day to fresh grass. And we started them off in an area of the pasture where we bale grazed our dairy cow all winter. So a lot of hay bales were fed out here, which leaves a ton of cow pies and hay residue on the ground. And these chickens come and scratch it out, spread the cow pies, and all that fertility gets worked into the soil up there. And so this was a pretty poor area of soil, and we're hoping after bale grazing the cows all winter and then bringing the chickens through really slowly in the spring, we're gonna be able to kickstart all the growth and biology in the soil there. So that's our plan, and we're pretty excited to see phase 2. Cows were phase 1, chickens are phase 2, and I'm sure by the end of the year you'll be able to see a lot of lush green growth coming in that area. So that's pretty fun to be able to transform the landscape with our animals while getting awesome eggs that we can sell to you guys. So here they are, those chickens enjoying their life finally out on pasture under the blue sky, fresh air, sunshine, and green grass, and some bugs. The bugs are just starting now. Inside the coop, chickens are still laying eggs in those same rollaway nest boxes. A lot of eggs being laid in here every morning, and some on the ground. Birds like to hang out under the coop for shade during the warm parts of the day. Range out into the grass to scratch and hunt and peck. So that's it for this video. Things are just starting to wake up for real now, and we anticipate a lot of green, fast growth over the next couple weeks. It's getting warm. We already have pretty long daylight, and things are really going to get rolling really fast. We're hoping to start the CSA at the end of May, so just a few weeks away. And we still have a lot of members to get, so please help us spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. We've been passing out flyers and trying to spread the word as much as we can, but signups have just been really slow this year. So we're a little behind on that, and we're hoping we can get a whole bunch in the next couple weeks. That would be extremely helpful for the rest of the season. We're working hard to get plants started in the garden. We've got chicks and all kinds of things getting ready on the pasture, So there's going to be a lot of food coming out of the farm in the next couple weeks, and we need you guys to eat it all. So help us by spreading the word, telling your friends, letting them know about us and that they can get really nutritious food that is grown in a responsible, sustainable way and brought right to them. So please let your friends and family know and help us get those members so that we can keep doing this work, restoring the landscapes, bringing health and vitality to the ecosystem, and producing really nutritious food that people can heal and grow and thrive off of. So you help us do that work by spreading the word so that we can get busy doing this work. Thanks for watching, thanks for caring, and we will see you next time.
Has an essay on it. Aristotelian. What's that?